You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Naruto Enters Proud Family. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Smithville. It was a regular day in Smithville, which was a pretty normal and average suburban town. A moving truck pulled up to a nearby house. A young man stepped out of the truck as the movers started to move the furniture, heirlooms, and other belongings of the family. He was 16 years old with spiky blonde hair and blue eyes. His most distinguishing feature were the 3 whisker-shaped birthmarks on each of his cheeks. He looked around to see the neighborhood teens running back to their families as they pulled up, leaving a single young woman his age left behind. "Naruto, can you come in and help with setting up the house?" A voice called out to him. Yeah, coming Ka-chan," Naruto said, paying the girl a last glance before walking back into the room. Night soon fell and Naruto noticed the girl was still sitting out there alone. Penny Proud was not having a good day. She and her friends had decided to go on a strike against their parents to get larger allowances, but in the end they just ended up paying other teens to do their work. Over time more and more of the kids gave up the fight and went back home until she was the only one left. "I take you've been having a hard time, huh?" Someone said, catching Penny's attention, touring to see Naruto sitting next to her with a warm smile. Hi," Penny said. "Hi, my name's Naruto. I just moved in and I've seen you staying outside by yourself and I've been wondering what's going on," Naruto said, curious. "Oh well, see, me and the other teens in the neighborhood went on strike for better allowances," Penny said, explaining her situation. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this while what sounded like laughing was heard in his hoodie. "Are you laughing at me?" Penny asked with a slight glare at the new boy. No, it wasn't me," Naruto said as his hoodie moved and what looked like a small fox poked its head out of the hoodie. "I'm getting laughed at by a fox?" Penny asked in a mixture of confusion and annoyance. "Kitsune actually, but yeah, he's kind of a smartass," Naruto said with a sheepish grin. Penny sighed at this. "It sounds like you had it hard," Naruto said. "Yeah, I'm just sick of my parents treating me like a little kid. I'm 15 now. I thought they'd see that, but I guess they don't really even care about me at all," Penny said, hanging her head down. "Hey, don't talk like that. I know there's hardly a parent out there that doesn't care about their child, and from the looks of things you are one of those kids," Naruto said, pointing over to the Proud family home where Oscar was stepping out to talk to his daughter. "Well, I think I'll let you two talk things out. I hope it goes well." Naruto smiled. "Yeah, and thanks for listening. My name's Penny, by the way, Penny Proud," Penny said with a smile of her own. "Naruto Uzumaki." "See ya around, Penny Proud," Naruto said, waving goodbye to Penny as he made his way back towards his house. "Who was that boy?" Oscar asked as he approached. "New kid in town. Now are you here to negotiate?" Penny asked as she stood up with her sign. "I'm here to bring you inside before you freeze," Oscar said. Penny frowned at this before she looked away. Oscar sighed at this. "How did you get so stubborn?" he said. "Mom says I get it from you," Penny said with a slight smirk as she didn't look at her father. "Oh yeah? Well, nobody is more stubborn than her boogie father," Oscar said. Penny said nothing to this since she had heard this kind of thing all the time. Oscar sighed at this. "Okay, look, maybe we can negotiate a little while we eat some gumbo." Penny paused at this. "Gumbo?" she asked as she slightly turned her head to look at her father. "Yup, a big pot," Oscar said with a smile as he knew how much she loved gumbo. Okay fine, Penny said with a smile as she and Oscar went inside the house. Naruto was watching this from his window and smiled, glad things went okay. Are you looking to court that one, the kitsune Naruto had in his hoodie who was now sitting on Naruto's bed? Naruto rolled his eyes at this. I just moved here Kurama, he said as he went to go sit down on the bed. I don't hear a no, Kurama said with a small smirk. Oh shut the hell up before I have you shaved, Naruto said before he pushed Kurama off his bed. Hey! That's abuse. I'll call PETA. Kurama yelled as he looked up at Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes as he got ready for bed, hoping that he could make friends in this neighborhood. The next day, Naruto walked downstairs to the kitchen where his mother Kushina and father Minato were waiting. How did you sleep, son? Minato asked as he looked up from his newspaper. On my back, ow. Naruto said as his mother tapped him on the forehead with 2 fingers. Don't be a smart, but now make sure you show up to work at the restaurant after school. It's the opening day, Kushina said as she placed a plate of bacon and eggs in front of her son. No problem mom, hey. Naruto yelled as Kurama jumped up and snatched his bacon off his plate and ran off. Should have been quicker son, Minato said with a chuckle as he finished his bacon. Kurama snickered at this as he ate Naruto's bacon from his bowl of pet food in the corner. Yeah well I wouldn't want to end up being so quick like you, Naruto says with a grin, causing Kurama to snicker even more while Minato spits out his coffee. Naruto, your father is perfectly average and I love him the way he is, Kushina said with a smile, causing Minato to brighten up despite being called average. Besides, it's not his fault I have so much stamina, something which if your skill in sports shows you have inherited as well, Kushina said with a grin. You didn't call me average last and Minato begins to say. Okay, I'm done eating. Later. Naruto yelled as he quickly ate and ran off. Kushina chuckled as she and her husband watched him grab his keys and run into the garage. Give him time, I bet he will get a girlfriend in this new neighborhood, Minato said. Not if he is clueless like you were, sweetie, Kushina said with a smile at the memory of how clueless her husband was when they met. Excuse me, I think you are mixing things up dear, it was you that was clueless to me liking you, Minato said with a teasing grin. Hey, we were both kinda clueless. Oh geez, Naruto is gonna be worse than us, isn't he? Kushina said as realization hit her. At this rate I will never get grandbabies to spoil. She yells, gripping her head in frustration. Well, you need to hire some help at the restaurant. Why not hire some part-time help so you can hire some teenagers? Minato asked. Kushina looked up at this and smiled. You're a genius honey, and you would have gotten to be the man tonight if it wasn't for that crack about me being clueless, so instead you get to meet Mr. Thick and Ms. Cattails tonight, she said as she left the room with a happy attitude. Minato shuddered a bit. Mental note, pick up some pain relief cream and painkillers on way home from work, he thought, knowing that come morning it would be a miracle if his hips were still in one piece. With Naruto. Naruto was driving his motorcycle down the road on his way to school. The motorcycle itself was a custom-made Kawasaki Ninja H2R that he had painted black with red flames that bled into orange flames on it. Pulling to a stop sign, he noticed Penny, who was standing on the sidewalk with 3 other girls. One was a girl with blonde hair and a ponytail, this was Daijone. One was a Latina girl with long brown hair, this was Lacianiga. And the last was a tall girl with short orange hair and glasses, this was Zoe. Hey Penny. Naruto said with a smile, causing the girls to look at him in confusion before he flipped up the visor of his custom Leopard 989 modular Bluetooth helmet with red LED lights on the back of it and the front painted to look like a snarling fox face. Naruto? Penny asked, surprised at seeing the new teen in town on a motorcycle. That's me. Who are your friends? Naruto asked as he looked at the other girls. Oh, these are friends Daijone, Zoe and Lacianiga, Penny said, pointing at each girl as she introduced them. Nice to meet all of you. Say Penny, would you like a ride to school? Naruto asked as he took out a spare helmet. This got surprised looks from Penny's friends while Penny smiled. You have a license, right? She asked as she took the spare helmet and approached the bike. Of course, if I didn't my mom would get me like a fish, Naruto said as Penny got on the bike after fastening her helmet, sitting behind him. Naruto then took off down the street, causing Penny to tightly wrap her arms around his chest to hold on. Daang! Daijone, Lacianiga and Zoe all said in shock. How did Proud make friends with a guy like that? Lacianica asked. I don't know, looks like my girl has game, Daijone said with an impressed smile. Hope her dad doesn't find out, Zoe said as she knew if Oscar found out Penny was on a motorcycle with a boy he would go nuts. Oops, Lacianiga said with a smile as she held up her phone showing a video of Penny getting on the motorcycle before Naruto drove off, which she just sent to Oscar. Girl, that was cold, Daijone said with a deadpan stare. Oh, like he wouldn't find out eventually, Lacianiga said with a scoff. True, Daijone said as they all knew how Oscar was a helicopter parent. And when her dad chases him off, that will leave me open to get him as my boyfriend, Lacianiga said with a smile as they all walked to school. Zoe and Daijone shook their heads at this as they should have figured Lacianiga had a motive for doing this. Later that day, Naruto drove his motorcycle down the road and stopped in front of Penny's house. Thanks for the ride, Penny said with a smile as she got off the motorcycle and took off Naruto's spare helmet. Hey, you helped me learn where everything is at school, so consider this my way of saying thanks. Also keep the helmet, might come in handy in the future, Naruto said with a smile that was hidden by his own helmet. So you heading home? Penny asked as she put the helmet in her backpack. No, I need to head to my mom's restaurant. Here, have a coupon, Naruto said as he handed Penny a slip of paper. Penny took the paper and looked at it and saw it was indeed a coupon for a restaurant called the Rising Tide. See you later, Penny, Naruto said as he started his motorcycle and took off, even showing off a bit by doing a wheelie, getting her to chuckle. Penny smiled as she watched Naruto leave. Penny! Oscar yelled from the front door. Dang, Penny grumbled as she went inside the house. What's this I hear about you riding a motorcycle, let alone with a boy? Didn't I say no dating until you're married? Oscar yelled as Penny sat down on the couch. Dad, Naruto was safe and he's not my boyfriend, so relax, Penny said. I don't care if he drives an electric car. You're not allowed to get rides from boys. Trudy! Oscar yelled out loudly. Oscar, why are you yelling? A woman carrying two babies asked as she came down the stairs. This was Trudy Proud and the two babies were BB and Cece. Yeah boy, you sound like a girl and you're interrupting my stories. A old woman with poofy white hair, she was also carrying a small white dog. This was Suga Mama, Oscar's mother, and her dog was Puff. That's cold, Mama, Oscar said with a sideways look at his mother who was sitting on the couch next to Penny. No, it's the truth, Suga Mama said with a smile. Okay, what's going on? Trudy asked as she put BB and Cece into a playpen. Penny was on a motorcycle with a boy. Oscar said. Oh, relax, Penny is gonna be 16 soon and there's nothing you can do about it, Trudy said with a smile at her daughter who smiled back. Who is this boy anyway? Sugar Mama asked as she muted the TV. His name is Naruto and his family moved into the neighborhood, Penny said. Oh, we have new neighbors? Trudy asked with a smile. Can we focus? Where does this boy live? I'll take care of this. Oscar yelled, getting frustrated. He lives next door to the Boulevardes family, but he's not there, Penny said. How do you know? Oscar asked suspiciously. He said he had to go to his mom's restaurant, Penny said as she took out the coupon Naruto gave her. I'll take that. Oscar said as he took the coupon and ran out of the house. Trudy sighed at this, knowing that her husband was most likely going to make a scene at the new restaurant. That boy put the E in ignorant, Suga Mama sad. Penny also sighed at her dad's antics. Okay, what is this boy's name? Trudy asked her daughter, wanting to confirm his name with her daughter. Naruto Uzumaki, Penny said. This caused Trudy and Suga Mama to pause in surprise. Uzumaki? Trudy asked with a smile. You know them? Penny asked, surprised. If it's the Uzumaki we are thinking of, we may need to make funeral arrangements, Suga Mama said with a smile. Well, let's go make sure your father doesn't get killed, Trudy said as she picked up BB and Cece so they could go. Penny nodded as she opened a closet and pulled out a stroller for her siblings. The rising tide. Naruto was at a table taking some customers' orders. Suddenly the door to the restaurant burst open and Oscar walked in. "Okay, where is this Naruto?" he yelled out as he looked around rapidly. That's me, sir," Naruto said. Oscar looked at Naruto and raised his eyebrow. "What's with the whiskers? You have tattoos?" Naruto's eyebrow twitched at this. "They are birthmarks, sir," he said with a hard tone. "Don't get smart with me, you hooligan. Now where are your parents?" Oscar said, demanding to know where they were. "Who are you calling a hooligan, toothpick?" Kushina yelled as she came out from the back of the restaurant. "Out of my way, woman, I don't want your son near my daughter," Oscar yelled. "And what's wrong with my son?" Kushina yelled as she approached Oscar with a look of fury. Naruto groaned at this as he pinched his nose knowing what was coming. Kushina made a war cry as she tackled Oscar. Kushina grabbed Oscar by his legs and began to swing him down on the ground hard each time the snack tycoon would scream out in terror before she spun him around above her head. "Mama!" Oscar screamed. Kushina took hold of Oscar and began to spin and twist him around into a pretzel, then into a ball, bouncing him across the floor. "You scream like a bee," Kushina yelled as she slammed the man onto the floor. Naruto sighed at this as he turned to the customers watching. "Sorry for the trouble, folks, my mom doesn't tolerate nonsense," he said. The customers nodded at this while they went back to their meals. "Oh God, my spine!" Oscar yelled as Kushina put him into a very painful hold and placed his head on the floor and held his arms as she stomped on his back. "Prepare to catch a beat-down, toothpick," Kushina yelled as she smiled savagely. "Kushina, is that you?" Trudy asked as she entered the restaurant along with Suga Mama and Penny, who was pushing a stroller which held BB and Cece. "Hold on, Trudy, I'm about to gut this punk but bit," Kushina was saying before she paused and looked towards Trudy, who was smiling at her. "Trudy? Trudy Parker?" she asked with her own smile. Trudy and Kushina both squealed happily before Kushina threw Oscar onto a free table and ran to Trudy and hugged her. "I knew it was you when my grandbaby said Uzumaki," Suga Mama said with a smile. "Suga Mama? What are you doing here?" Kushina asked as she looked at the old woman. "Saving my idiot son from your wrath," Suga Mama said as she approached. "Oh, this is your kid? The same one that screwed up that shot at the All-Star game?" Kushina asked. Oscar groaned at this as it would figure that this mad woman would bring that up. "And my husband," Trudy said with a smile as Suga Mama helped her son to his feet. "This is who you married? Wait, isn't this that loon who dressed as Prince in college?" Kushina asked as she recalled Trudy dating someone like that. "I would have invited you to the wedding but you had already moved back to Japan," Trudy said. Hello. Can I get an explanation here?" Naruto said as he waved his hand. "Yeah, you two know each other?" Penny asked. "Oh sure, me and your mom knew each other in our junior year in high school and became practically sisters," Kushina said with a smile. "Yeah, I was one of the few people Kushina could stand," Trudy said with a chuckle at her old friend. "Hell, your mother and I were the leaders of an all-female biker gang back in high school called the Crimson Black Devils, or CBD for short," Kushina says, causing Penny's eyes to widen in shock. Sugar Mama love her some CBD," Sugar Mama says with a chuckle from the sidelines. "Well, welcome to the rising tide, please stay for a meal and proud watch your mouth about my son," Kushina said with a glare at Oscar. Oscar whimpered and nodded at this. "Would you all like a table?" Naruto asked Trudy politely as he picked up some menus. "That would be fantastic, young man," Trudy said with a smile as Naruto led them to the table Kushina had thrown Oscar to. "Okay, here are your menus, I'll be back soon to take your orders," Naruto said as he brought out some high chairs for BB and Cece. Trudy smiled as she and Oscar put the babies in the high chairs. Trudy noticed that Penny was watching Naruto leave and smiled as she could tell her daughter was interested in her best friend's son. He's a nice boy, Trudy said to Penny, who froze and stopped watching Naruto. Nice? His mom almost killed me. Oscar yelled, looking up from his menu. Oh, take it like a man, Suga Mama said. Yeah, plus if she wanted to kill you, they wouldn't find the body, Trudy said with a teasing smile. DMN straight. Kushina yelled from the kitchen. Oscar flinched slightly at this before he composed himself. I still don't want him around Penny, he said. Well, he's the son of my best friend, so you better get used to him, Oscar, Trudy said with a slight glare. Woman, my word is law and dash, Oscar tried to say. Trudy then growled at Oscar and glared hard at him. Yes dear, Oscar said quickly as he went back to looking at his menu. Punk, but, Suga Mama said with a smile as the twins laughed. So is everyone ready to order? Naruto asked as he returned with his pad of paper to take their order. I will have the fried chicken and rice bowl, extra spicy, Sugar Mama said. I guess I will try the gumbo, Oscar said. I will have the house salad with a side of the crunchy dragon roll, Penny said. For the twins I will order the rice and chicken tender kids meals. However, I do have a question regarding the PND burger. Is this the same recipe your mom used to make when she was a teen? Trudy says. Yeah, mom hasn't changed the recipe at all, Naruto says with a nod. Oh great, then I will have 6 PND burgers, a side of crazy fries, and an extra large beatdown milkshake, Trudy says with a smile while her family looks on in shock. Okay, I will get your order in right away, Naruto says before waking into the kitchen. 1 hour later. Okay, this is impressive, Suga Mama said. Wow Mama, Penny said. Trudy, how could you eat all that? Oscar yells after seeing Trudy devour her 6 huge burgers, each weighing a couple pounds, 5 pounds worth of potatoes via her fries, and a milkshake served in massive party-sized goblet. Still got that love for my burgers, huh Trudy, Kushina said walking over to the table. Oh, can you blame me, Kushina, your burgers are da bomb. Trudy said with a grin. Ha, you got that right, girlfriend, though you appear to be slacking off as you used to be able to eat 12 of them, Kushina said with a grin. Oh please girl, I could still eat 12, I just decided to pace myself this time, Trudy said before the two laugh. How do you eat that and still look fit, Mama? Penny asked, wondering what her secret was. Honey, I go to the gym regularly, Trudy said with a smile at her daughter. Penny gave her mother's figure a quick once-over. Maybe I should start working out as well. She thought of 3 specific spots in particular, namely her mother's melons, thighs, and peach. So you two go to school together? Kushina asked her son and gesturing to Penny. Yeah, I gave Penny a ride to school and she helped me by giving me a tour of the school, Naruto said. Hey, that reminds me, I don't want you giving my daughter rides on that motorcycle. Oscar said. Penny groaned at this as she knew her dad would start this again eventually. Oscar, you had a motorcycle while we were dating, Trudy said. Exactly, Oscar said with a slight glare. Please, that weren't no hog, that was a scooter, Sugar Mama chimes in with a snort. You would know, you wildebeest, Oscar said. You cracking wise at me, boy? Sugar Mama asked threateningly, raising her cane in the air. Touch me and I'll call social services, Oscar said with a smart-ass grin. Oh, you a snitch, huh? I know what to do with snitches, Suga Mama said. Snitches get stitches if they are lucky, Kushina said. Stay out of this, she-devil, and where are one of those burgers for me? Oscar asked Kushina, wanting to see what made those burgers so great that his wife would eat 6 of them. Kushina glowered at Oscar at this. Oh sure, here, she said before she slugged him in the face, making his face all squished up. You full boy, or should she supersize it? Suga Mama asked. I'm good, Oscar wheezed out, getting a laugh from Suga Mama. Anyway, we should hang out now that we are neighbors. Me and my friend Sunset get together often, Trudy said to Kushina. We're neighbors now. That's great. Heck, we should go out riding some night. I still got my old bike and even kept yours for you, Kushina said with a smile at her friend. Trudy smiled at this and nodded, glad to have her old friend back. The next day. Penny was at school in the lunchroom of the high school and soon spotted Naruto sitting with her friend Sticky. However, before she could go sit with him, she spotted her friends waving at her at a table. "Hey girls, what's up?" Penny asked as she sat down next to Daijone. "What's up is that you've been holding out on us," Daijone said with a smile. "What are you talking about?" Penny asked. "The new boy proud," Rasengan said. "What about Naruto?" Penny asked in confusion. "Penny, you don't usually take rides from guys," Zoe said. "Well, after I was left alone after that strike thing went nowhere, he gave me a pep talk and cheered me up," Penny said with a smile as she looked at Naruto, who was still chatting with Sticky. "Girl, it has to be more than that, so spill," Daijone said, not buying that's all there was to tell. "Well, apparently his mom and my mom are old friends," Penny said with a chuckle. "Oh, now that is juicy, give us the deets, girl," Daijone said. "Well, they were part of a biker gang back in the day, at least according to Miss Kushina," Penny said. "Wow, your mom must have been pretty tough to be part of a biker gang," Zoe said. "Yeah, apparently Naruto's mom and her got into all kinds of incidents back then," Penny said. "Back up, so you're saying that your mom used to be a badass biker babe back in the day? I don't buy it," Rasengan said. "Well, you can ask your mom, apparently my mom and Kushina are gonna go out with your mom soon," Penny said. "Well, I hope your boy has his mom's attitude," Daijone said as she pointed towards Naruto's table where they saw 3 girls with ashy skin approaching Naruto. These were the Gross sisters Nubia, Gina and Olii. "Hey new guy," Nubia said as she approached Naruto's table. Yeah?" Naruto asks. "You didn't pay your fee." "What fee?" Naruto once more asked. "The new kid fee, so hand over your money." Naruto looked at the 3 sisters and saw Olii glaring at him and the little one Gina with her hand out to collect his money. "Dude, I would just hand it over," Sticky said to Naruto. "Yeah, sure, okay," Naruto says, reaching into his pocket before holding his fist out to them, palm up. Naruto then brought his other hand up and started to move it like he was cranking something as his middle finger slowly started to rise until it was fully standing up, flipping off the 3 sisters. "Here is your money, try not to spend it all in one place, but if you do I got another for ya," he says with a grin. Danning, Penny and her girlfriend say, seeing the scene. "Boy, you are either dumb or you want a beatdown, don't make me have my little sister force the cash out of you," Nubia said. "Be please, I leave bigger threats in the toilet whenever I take a SHT," Naruto says, getting another danning from Penny and her friends. "Okay, Olii, make this fool pay up," Nubia said. Olii growled as she punched her palm as she approached Naruto. "Chomp! Ag!" Olii yelled as she held up her leg, showing Kurama hanging from her leg. "Oi, Kurama, spit that out, you know you're not supposed to eat trash, plus who knows where that's been, it could be diseased for all we know," Naruto said. "What the heck is that thing?" Nubia asked. "It's a kitsune and he's kinda protective of me," Naruto said as he chuckled at Kurama still biting on Oli's leg. Kurama dropped down and ran to Naruto and jumped onto his shoulder. "That thing better not be rabid, new kid," Nubia said with a glare. "The name is Naruto Uzumaki and you're not getting anything from me but a middle finger," he said with a glare at the sisters. The 3 sisters glared at Naruto before they left. "Dude, you must have ball of steel to stand up to the Gross sisters," Sticky said. "I don't tolerate bullies, man or woman," Naruto said as he sat down to his food. Sticky looked at Kurama, who was sniffing at him curiously. "He's a friend, Kurama, so play nice," Naruto said. Kurama said nothing, but he stole a French fry from Naruto's tray before he jumped into Naruto's hoodie. "Dude, not going to lie, that is probably the strangest thing I have seen in a long time," Sticky said with a raised brow. "Normal is overrated," Naruto said with a smile. "This isn't gonna end with you recruiting me to a cult, is it?" Sticky asked with a joking tone. Naruto snorted at this and the 2 friends laughed. Dang girl, if Sticky wasn't already my man I would be all over Naruto right now after that stunt he just pulled punking the Gross sisters," Daijone said in a flirty tone. Penny heard this and did something she never did before. She growled at Daijone. This made Daijone's eyes widen in surprise and jump back. "Dang girl, I was kidding, you got it bad for the new meat," Daijone said. She growled like her mother, so yeah, I would back off, Zoe said with a surprised look. Realizing what she just did, Penny blushes. I have no idea what you mean, she says in embarrassment. Then you won't mind if I go say hello, Lacianiga said with a smile as she got up from her table and walked towards Naruto's table with a sway in her hips. That be? Penny thought in realization of what Lacianiga had just done. Hey cutie, you free after school? Lacianiga asked Naruto as she sat down next to him. Naruto looked at the girl and smiled in a friendly way. Hey, sorry, I have work after school, miss. He asked, hoping to get a name. Lacianiga smiled at this. Aren't you a gentleman? The name's Lacianiga Boulevardes. Oh, are you the daughter of Sunset Boulevardes? Naruto asked. Yes, I heard from Penny that our moms are friends now and I thought we should be friends too, Lacianiga said with a flirty tone. Naruto smiled at this. Sure, you can't have too many friends, he said. Sticky looked at Naruto and was surprised at how he didn't react to Lacianiga's obvious attempts to flirt with him. Lacianiga gained a surprised look at the fact that her attempt to flirt didn't work at all, but she composed herself and smiled back at Naruto. So where do you work? She asked, hoping to get some information. Well, partially at my family's restaurant and when I visit, my grandparents' animal shelter, and on rare occasions I'll give my dad a hand with his game warden stuff. Naruto said. My mom's a cop and my dad owns a construction business. Lacianiga said. Guess you get big bucks then, Naruto said with a small shrug. So what do you do for fun? Zoe asked as her and the other girls approached. I do the regular stuff, read, games, outdoor activities, Naruto said. Outdoor activities? Penny asked. You know, hiking, archery, etc. Naruto said. Ah, a man of nature, huh? Sticky asked with a nod. Yep. Naruto said with a nod back. So do you always work after school? Lacianiga asked as that sounded boring. Well, Mom said I only have to work on Wednesdays and Fridays, Naruto said, glad his mom was wanting him to have some freedom. Any perks on that, like free food or something? Daijone asked. Free for me, half off for friends, Naruto said with a nod. You know, when I found out our moms were friends I didn't really think yours would be a cook, I figured she'd be a vet like mine, Penny said. No, according to Mom she learned to cook from Suga Mama as a teen when she was on probation as a teen, Naruto said as he shook his head. Don't you own a fox? Isn't that kind of illegal? Zoe asked with a raised eyebrow. Not if you have an exotic animal permit, Naruto said as Kurama poked his head out of Naruto's hoodie. Ah, wait, you said probation, what did your mom do? Daijone asked after giving Kurama a head scratch. Ha! What didn't she do as a teen? Naruto said with a laugh. This got surprised looks from the others. Let's just say she was a delinquent and when she went too far she was forced to be put through some court-ordered activity or some CRP, anyways she chose cooking as it seemed to be the least stupid thing in that list. Naruto said. And she ended up learning from Suga Mama, huh? Penny asked with a smile. Yeah, you should see her menu and her stuff she makes for Kurama and the others. See, I got other pets but most are down at the shelter. Stupid laws not letting a horse or gorilla in the neighborhood. Naruto grumbled. Wait, what? This got the girl's attention. You own a ape? Sticky asked. Well, he likes me and tolerates me. Son Goku lives with my grandparents, as do more of my exotic pets or animal friends. Naruto said with a smile. Well, what else do you have at home besides this guy? Penny asked as she handed Kurama a chicken nugget. Well, like I said, just him. I mean, come on, what's wrong with having a slug or a rhino beetle, only letting one? Stupid neighborhood laws. Naruto grumbled. Well, a small fox is the closest to a dog, Sticky said as he ate his burger. Kurama growled at this. Don't compare him to a dog if you want to keep your fingers, Naruto said with a chuckle as he pet Kurama. Who keeps a slug as a pet? Lacianiga asked, kinda grossed out. Someone who likes animals, Ms. Big Mouth. Penny grumbled. So you have anything planned this weekend? Lacey Aniga asked with a smile, ignoring Penny. Well, my parents are going out this Saturday night, so Naruto was saying before he was cut off. Your house is free. We should have a party. Lacey Aniga said. I don't know, Naruto said. It would help you make more friends, Sticky said. Well, Mom wanted me to make new friends. Naruto said with a slight nod. Alright. I'll put the word out. Daijone said with a smile as she took out her phone. Kurama made a face that just screamed SHT was going to happen. Oh hush, Naruto said as he shoved a French fry in his pet's mouth. Saturday night. Naruto was in his living room setting up some snacks for the party on a table. Think this will be enough, Kurama? Naruto asked as he set out some sodas next to the food. Kurama, who was laying in a windowsill and looked up before he looked outside, don't think that will be enough, kid, he said with a snicker. Before Naruto could respond, he heard the doorbell. You better behave yourself, Kurama, he said as he approached the door. Oh please, I am the symbol of good behavior. Yeah, and I'm the Dalai Lama of dumbass, Naruto said as he opened the door, seeing a crowd of teens. Let's party. Sticky said as they all came in. I thought you said you were inviting a few people, not the entire neighborhood. Naruto said to Daijone. This is a few, she said. They mess up my house and it'll be on your head, Naruto said as she walked by him. Whatever. Alright, a few rules: 1. Absolutely nobody goes into my mom's room, 2. Absolutely no alcohol in my house, and 3. No drags either. Naruto said as he stopped people from coming in. Relax, Naruto, we're not stupid, Sticky said with a thumbs up. God, could you imagine my daddy if they had beer, Penny said. You wouldn't be able to leave your house until college, Naruto said with a laugh. Some music started to play and everyone started to dance. Come on Naruto, let's go dance, Lacey Aniga said as she dragged Naruto to the dance floor. But I don't know how to dance. This is going to be entertaining. Kurama thought, seeing the look on Penny's face. With Kushina. Kushina was with Trudy, Minato and Oscar at a restaurant. So what do you do? Oscar asked Minato. Well, I'm the town's newest game warden, Minato said. Oh yeah, you those guys who stop people hunting wrong and going after too many deer and other animal stuff. Animal police, Oscar said, seeing stuff with game wardens on TV. Yeah, if I find anything rare I send it to my parents who run a sanctuary outside the city, Minato said with a smile. So what do you do, Proud? Kushina asked as she cut her steak. I am president and CEO of Proud Snacks, Oscar said with a proud smile. Isn't that what you use for rat poison, dear? Minato asked Kushina. Pfft. Trudy let out a snicker. Trudy, come on, they ain't that bad. Oscar said. I ate one once and the next thing I knew I was hugging my toilet, Kushina said. Gah, one day they are going to be a bestseller, I guarantee it. Oscar said. Well, at least you don't give up, that's a good quality, Minato said with a smile at Oscar. Oscar is many things, hard-headed is one of them, Trudy said. Sounds like my Minato and Naruto, Kushina said. It's so nice seeing him with your Penny, seeing him hitting it off with her. Minato said with a smile. Who's hitting what off? Oscar said. Oscar, they mean they are friends, Trudy said with a sigh, knowing what he would most likely think. Let me guess, the typical anti-boy kind of dad? Kushina asked. Girl, you have no idea. Trudy said. I would be the same if I had a daughter, Minato admitted with a chuckle. Maybe y'all should try. Trudy said with a small chuckle. Maybe we should, dear, Kushina said with her own chuckle. After you almost ripped my hand off when you had Naruto? Minato asked as he flexed his hand, making a cracking sound. You think one's bad, try having twins, Oscar said, flexing his own hand. Excuse me? Trudy said, giving him a look. Before anyone could react, Kushina shivered. My delinquent senses are going off, she said. Huh? Oscar asked. Whenever Naruto does his usual mischief or does something bad she senses it, Minato explained. What's he doing tonight? Trudy asked. Well, he said he was going to invite some of the neighborhood kids over so he could make new friends, Kushina said. Oscar gave Kushina a flat look. You left a teen alone at your house to throw a party? I didn't say it was a part, oh god damn it, Kushina said as she realized her mistake. Ha! Your son got one over on you. Oscar said as he laughed. Yeah, and your daughter is probably there too, Kushina said with a glare. Penny. Oscar said as he shot off. Wait for me, toothpick. Kushina yelled as she ran after him. With Naruto. Kurama was hiding underneath a couch as everyone was everywhere all over the place. God, hey, put that down, it's an antique. Naruto said, seeing someone about to throw a vase. This is crazy. Penny said as she saw a teen hanging from a ceiling fan. Blame your friend for that. Naruto said, giving Daijone a look. Ga hey, watch the hat. Sticky said as someone tried taking his hat. My mom is gonna kill me, Naruto said. Oh, relax, we can clean up before, Lacey Aniga was saying before she was cut off. Suddenly the door opened and everyone saw Oscar slide through the living room tripping on a football. I'm okay, he said in the kitchen. Kushina then stomped inside, her hair waving behind her as her eyes were red. Blame her, she brought them. Naruto said, throwing Daijone forward. Kushina looked around and soon scoffed, bah, this is a party. I had better, she said. This caused Naruto and some of the other to face fault. Please, you think you can party harder than this? Sticky asked. Of course were you in my room? Kushina bellowed, seeing some teens come downstairs. I told you assholes not to go in her room. Naruto yelled out. Okay, I'm calm, Kushina said as she slowly went upstairs. Naruto waved his hand at Penny and her friends and made a motion under his neck. Penny nodded and they both headed for the door. Wow, I'm surprised she's so calm, Oscar said as he got up. Outside. She's got a gun. Sticky yelled as he ran out of the house as machine gun fire was heard, which caused the teens to run out of the house screaming. Nearby Kurama was rolling on the grass laughing. Your mom is crazy. Penny said to Naruto from their hiding place on her house's porch. I know, God knows what she's going to do to me, Naruto said. Well, besides the mess, I kinda had fun tonight. Penny said. Yeah, at least there's that. Naruto said with a smile. We should do it again sometime, but with way less people. Penny said. Yeah, I'm gonna have you be in charge next time, Naruto said with a smile at Penny. There you are. Oscar said as he finally recovered from his tumble. Great. Penny said as she saw her dad approach while both Minato and Trudy drive up in Minato's car. Young lady, you know you're not allowed at parties with boys. Oscar said with an angry look. Yes, Daddy, Penny said, knowing there was no escape from this. Get inside. Young lady, we will deal with this later, Trudy said with a firm tone. Penny nodded as she went inside. As for you, young man, just wait until your mom is done scaring the neighborhood, Minato said as they heard more gunfire. Yes, Dad. Naruto said as he followed his dad. You better stay away from my daughter, kid. Oscar yelled after Naruto, not noticing Kurama standing next to him. You do realize if you keep it up it's just gonna push them closer together, right? Kurama asked the man. Ah, talking fox. Oscar yelled as he got spooked and jumped back. Kitsune and I give it 3 to 6 months before Naruto is ball deep in her, Kurama said with an evil grin. When Oscar heard this, his face turned red from his anger before he chased after Kurama. Come here, you demonic little furball. Oscar. Trudy yelled, seeing Oscar grab Kurama by his tail. It's not what it looks like, Trudy. He can talk. Oscar yelled as he held up Kurama. Trudy gave Oscar a flat look at this. It's true. Here, you fleabag, talk trash to her, Oscar said, putting Kurama in front of Trudy. Kurama did nothing but make a cute begging face. Oscar, put that poor kitsune down and get inside, Trudy said as she grabbed Oscar by the back of his shirt and dragged him inside, making him drop Kurama. Kurama snickered at this before he ran back across the street to his home where Naruto and Minato were on the porch. "Come on, I think your mom is out of bullets," Minato said. "Circumstances aside, I actually kinda had fun when Lacey Aniga wasn't trying to glue herself to me," Naruto said. "Oh, the Latina girl? Figured it'd be the proud girl that would be all over you," Minato said. "Dad, they are just friends," Naruto said with a sigh as they went inside. "Okay, young man, when I'm done with you, coffee will look at you and say DMN. Kushina yelled as she threw her empty SMG at the wall, embedding it in the wall. Naruto groaned as his mom approached him to DSPLN him. With Naruto. Naruto was walking out of his house on his way to school. "Can't believe she took my motorcycle for 2 weeks, Naruto grumbled as he walked. "You're lucky she didn't give you a grade A but whoopin'," Kurama said as he poked his head out, showing he was on his head. "You're lucky I didn't tell them I'd take you to school with me," Naruto said. "Hey, I am well behaved, if you feed me," Kurama said with a smile at the thought of food. "One of these days you're gonna be round like Kirby," Naruto said flatly. Kurama blew a raspberry at Naruto as he retreated back into his hoodie. As Naruto walked down the street, he spotted Penny along with her girlfriends and Sticky. "Hey guys," Naruto said as he approached them. "No motorcycle?" Daijone asked. "No," my mom said, and I quote, "no motorcycle for 2 weeks under penalty of death," Naruto said, making air quotes. This made them all pause in surprise. "She's kidding, right?" Zoe asked with a nervous smile, hoping it was a joke. "She openly fired a SMG to clear out her house," Sticky said. "Surprised my mom didn't try to arrest her for that," Lacey Aniga said. "Would you?" Penny asked with a raised eyebrow. "Good point," the Latina girl said as she knew even her mom would be hard-pressed to arrest Kushina on her own. "Guess you gotta walk with us for the next 2 weeks, Sticky said as he looked at Naruto. "Not so bad," Naruto said with a shrug. "Well, you got off easy. My dad grounded me from everything but school for 2 weeks, Penny said. "Considering how overprotective that guy is, I'm surprised he lets you outside at all," Naruto said as Oscar took overprotectiveness to a new level. "He wanted to send me out in a suit of armor too, but Suga Mama stopped him," Penny said with a smile. "Bet," she said, "why my grandbaby going out dressed like Darth Vader?" Naruto said, trying to do Suga Mama's voice. Penny laughed at this and nodded, confirming that was indeed the case. "Well, at least now you're known at school, though your mom may be more known after that loco display last night," Lacey Aniga said. "Yeah, the son of the woman that would shoot people if you PSS her off," Naruto said with a roll of his eyes. "Well, at least you will be able to go out a little thanks to going to work with your parents' day tomorrow," Daijone said to Penny, trying to cheer her up. "Yeah, but I have seen mom's office so many times it's boring now," Penny said with a sigh. "What's your mom do?" Naruto asked with a curious look. "A vet, pretty darn good one too," Penny said with some level of respect. "I wouldn't mind going to where your mom works. I actually want to be a vet and care for animals like my grandparents do in their shelter," Naruto said with an excited smile. Penny paused at this. "Maybe we can SWCH who we go with," she said as she kinda liked the idea of seeing a different job than veterinarian. "I don't know, my mom is kinda strict at her place," Naruto said, not wanting Penny to bite off more than she could chew. "What about your dad? What's he do?" Penny asked quickly as she had the right thoughts as Naruto about his mom. "He's a game warden, but tomorrow is his day off, so he's going to my grandparents' shelter to help out for the day," Naruto said. "I'll take whatever I can get, so can we at least ask?" Penny asked with a slightly begging look at Naruto. Naruto looked at Penny and after a moment he groaned. Okay, I'll ask my dad, just put those puppy dog eyes away," he yelled. Penny smiled at this before the others laughed at this. "She got you easily, dude," Sticky said with a chuckle at his friend. "Shut up, short stack," Naruto grumbled. Hey, my man may be short but he's a man where it counts, Daijone said as she hugged Sticky. Daijone. Sticky groaned as he tried to get loose from the girl's grip. So am I, Naruto said simply as he walked past them, not really understanding just what he just said. Penny blushed a little at this but composed herself. Relax, he didn't mean that, Sticky groaned as he tried to get loose. How do you know? Lacey Aniga asked. He's ignorant of that kind of thing, remember how he was clueless to your attempt to flirt? Sticky asked as he continued to try and get loose from Daijone. He's clueless PRD, Lacey Aniga said, crossing her arms with a frown as her prize stole hurt for not being clueless. Don't mind her, she just mad he kinda ignored her at the party. Daijone said. Well yes, she was acting like a desperate floozy, Penny said. Actually he called it being a clingy friend, Lacey Aniga said with a frown. Plus those people were kinda ruining his house, so kinda hard to focus on stuff when that happens, Sticky said with a shrug. Don't worry, I'm not one to give up, Lacey Aniga said with a smile as she flipped her hair. Penny glowered at Lacey Aniga at this clearly not happy game on B, she thought to herself. Great, it's a boy off, Zoe said seeing the two glare at each other. We should take bets, hey. Daijone yelled as Sticky finally got loose thanks to her being distracted. Freedom. Sticky yelled as he ran after Naruto. Sticky. Get back here. Daijone yelled as she chased after Sticky. Later that day. Naruto ran into the rising tide and panted as he arrived at the counter. You're late. Kushina yelled as she came out. You're the reason for that woman. Naruto yelled back before he ducked from his mom throwing a wooden spoon at him. Don't mouth off to me. Don't make me embarrass you in front of your friend. Kushina said as she pointed at Sticky, who ran in to hide from Daijone. You already did that when you shot the neighborhood up. Naruto said. They were blanks, you big baby. Well, mostly, Kushina said with a dismissive wave of her hand. Hey Miss Uzumaki, sorry about the party yesterday, Sticky said as he came out from behind a seat since he saw Daijone run by outside. Ah, it's fine, this one is already suffering for it so we can move on, Kushina said as she jerked a thumb at Naruto who was putting his work apron on. Here's your spoon back, Naruto said as he threw the spoon. Ow. Kushina said, receiving it to the face. Sticky sweat dropped at this, finding this both amusing and weird. Ha! Naruto said before Kushina threw a pan at him, making a clanging sound. So you gonna ask her what Penny asked you to ask her? Sticky asked Naruto as he pulled the pan off his face. Oh yeah, Penny was wondering if she could work either with you or Dad, probably Dad, Naruto said simply. Oh yeah, that student parent day thing, why does she want to SWCH with you? Kushina asked curiously as she took the pan back. Well, she thinks she'll be bored at her mom's veterinarian office. Naruto said as he got out his order pad to take orders. Ah, and you want to learn from Trudy, huh? Kushina asked with a smile, knowing how much Naruto wanted to be a veterinarian. Naruto nodded at this as he went to go take some orders. So Sticky, you hungry? Kushina asked her son's friend. Yeah, sure, I'll take a bite. Sticky said as he nodded and sat at the bar. My son's friend's first meal is free, so enjoy, Kushina said as she handed him a menu. Sticky smiled as he took the menu. With Penny. Penny was quick to get inside and saw Oscar standing there looking at his wristwatch. You're a minute late, Oscar said. Yeah, well, Naruto is grounded from his motorcycle for 2 weeks, so I had to run, Penny said as she caught her breath. Good, at least that mad woman can DSPLN her kid, Oscar said. By the way, Naruto's asking his parents if I can hang with them tomorrow. I'm gonna ask Mom if she'll mind taking Naruto since he wants to learn to be a vet. Penny said. Why wouldn't he want to learn from me? Oscar asked, sounding insulted. Learn what to sit on the couch all day. Suga Mama said with a snicker. I run a business, woman. Oscar yelled. Yeah, a rat poison business, Suga Mama said with a smirk. You know, if you let him help you, he could give you some advice as he has friends back in Japan whose parents run businesses themselves. Penny said. I don't need any help with my snacks, Oscar said with a scowl. Yeah, all successful businesses employ monkeys, Suga Mama said with a laugh. You know Mama dash, Oscar was starting to say but was cut off. What's going on? Trudy asked as she came downstairs interrupting. Hey Mama, can Naruto come to work with you tomorrow for Go to Work with Parents Day? Penny asked turning to look at Trudy. Why would you want to SWCH? Trudy asked curiously and a little disappointed at the idea of Penny not being with her. Well, Naruto said he wants to be a vet someday and I thought Penny was saying before she was cut off. Ah, I see you're trying to help your boy toy out, Suga Mama said with a smile. He's not my boy toy, Penny said with a small blush. Nor will he ever, but I still say I could teach him a few things more than Trudy could, Oscar said. If he wants to be a vet then I'm more than happy to let him SWCH places with you Penny, Trudy said with a smile at her daughter. What are you going to be doing? Suga Mama asked. Well, I have two choices, shadow Miss Kushina at the restaurant or shadow Mr. Minato at his job, Penny said. Nah, I don't want her anywhere near that psycho, Oscar said. I'll call Kushina and see what her and Minato think, Trudy said with a nod at Penny who smiled. Oscar grumbled before he looked at his mother. As for you, what were we talking about before? He asked. You were gonna give me $20, Suga Mama said holding out her hand. Oh sure here Mama, Oscar said handing her the money and then heading upstairs. Suga Mama smiled at this. Yup, that's my boy, I'm not proud of it but he's mine, she said as she put the money under her wig. He has no idea why he had to do that, does he? Penny asked with a smile at her grandmother. Nope, learn from me my child, haha. Suga Mama said. The next day at Naruto's house. Be sure to not give Trudy any problems now, Minato said. I won't, try not to give Penny a hard time at Grandma and Grandpa's, Naruto said as Penny chose to go with his dad instead of his mom. Knowing my mother she'll be doing that more than me, Minato said with a chuckle. Don't let the pervert know she and Naruto are friends, Kushina said as she chopped some meat with some force as she said it. Yes dear. Minato said with a nod. Oh God, I forgot about Grandpa, Naruto groaned as he didn't realize the possibility of him meeting Penny. And keep that smut he writes away from her too, Kushina added with a scowl. Minato nodded as he got up to leave with Naruto close behind. Outside. Naruto and Minato walked across the street and knocked on the Proud family's door. The door opened and Naruto saw Oscar. Penny, that hooligan is here for your mama, Oscar yelled out. Hello to you too Mr. Proud, Naruto said with a twitching eyebrow as he and his father entered the house. I'm in the kitchen Naruto. Trudy yelled out. Naruto walked towards the kitchen and past Penny who smiled and nodded at him as she walked over to Minato. Make sure my kid stays out of trouble, Oscar said to Minato. Minato nodded and high-fived Oscar before him and Penny left. Meanwhile behind Oscar, Kurama jumped onto the couch before the fox grabbed the remote. Hey! Who said you could watch my TV? Oscar asked the kitsune. Naruto won't let me go with him today, so you're my special friend today, Kurama said with a mischievous grin at the man. I ain't babysitting you, you demonic furball. Oscar said. Kurama blew a raspberry at Oscar as he watched TV. Well, have fun Mr. Proud, here's his stuff. Naruto said handing Oscar a bag who dropped to the ground once he got it. Boy, what you got in this thing, bricks? Oscar said with a groan as he held the bag. No, Kurama is just really high maintenance and eats a lot, so watch your food because he will eat it. Naruto said. Well, I do need a taste tester for my snacks, Oscar said with a smile. Kurama froze at this and paled and his fur stood up. Hear that bud, you'll be eating all day, Naruto said with an evil smile at his pet. Well, let's be going, I want to beat traffic, Trudy said as they closed the door as they left. Wait, I changed my mind, take me with you. Kurama yelled as he slammed against the window and watched as they drove off. Well, come on, I have a new recipe to test out: broccoli-flavored octopus topped with jalapeno cheese, Oscar said with a smile as he grabbed Kurama's tail and dragged him towards the kitchen. Oh Kami, he's a mad scientist. Kurama yelled as he tried to claw at the floor but left nothing but claw marks as he was dragged into the kitchen. Later at Trudy's clinic. Trudy was looking after a few of the animals when she decided to check on Naruto. She walked out to the lobby and was shocked by what she saw. Naruto was feeding several of the animals while a few were out of their cages helping him out. Thanks for the help, Iago. Naruto said, rubbing a parrot's head as it chirped, flying around with a bag of feed filling up most of the bowls. A large snake wrapped itself around Naruto, hissing as it nuzzled his smiling face before helping to scoop up some food to fill the cages using its tail. What the? She said. Yeah, I kinda have a gift with animals, Naruto said with a smile. Must run in the family. Trudy said with a smile. Yeah, my dad likes animals too, Naruto said with a smile as he fed some toads. Naruto then yelped when one of the toads leapt onto his face. Trudy giggled at this as she helped Naruto get the toad off him. I smell cat dander. Naruto said before what looked like a magician entered the room. Hey buddy, I think you made a wrong turn. Vegas is that way, Naruto said with a laugh. Amusing, the man said with a flat tone. Can I help you, sir? Trudy said to the man. I am called Tristan the Magician and I'm here because something is wrong with my tiger Sasha, he said as he did some magic, making a cage holding an Indian tiger float into the room. Okay, I'm actually impressed, Naruto said before he blinked, seeing everyone else in the room run out when the tiger roared. Well, bring her in and I'll look her over. Trudy said. Tristan pushed the cage into the examination room while Naruto followed. I'm a boy, you idiot, a Indian spelunking voice said. Naruto looked around before shrugging as he followed. Tristan did another magic trick to put the cage on the table as the tiger walked out before laying on it. Look at her, she's usually so full of life and now she's like that. Again, I'm a male, you moron. She won't put on her tutu or anything anymore, Tristan said to Trudy. Yeah, I wouldn't either, Naruto grumbled as he wasn't really a fan of circuses. Zoos were okay if they were good ones to him, but circuses he didn't like. Will someone please tell this moron I'm a boy and my name is Ajay. Your Sasha is actually an Ajay, you know? Naruto said, deciding to say something. Yeah, but she doesn't know that, Tristan said. Ajay growled at this and bared his fangs at Tristan. You mean to tell me you've had this tiger and didn't even know it was a boy? Trudy said. Well, I didn't want to be rude, Tristan said with a sheepish look. What about food, what have you been giving him? Trudy asked. I give her the very best vegetarian meals, Tristan said with a smile. The dog does look delicious. Ajay said. Oh, for crying out loud, tigers need meat, you idiot. And no, you can't have the dog, Naruto said with a chuckle at the tiger. Naruto, who are you talking to? Trudy asked. The tiger, Naruto said simply. Is your assistant okay? Tristan asked Trudy. You can't have the dog, but you can have his dog food, Naruto said. Oh, there's no way. Tristan was silenced as after Naruto put the dog bowl down, Ajay went immediately at it. Incredible. She's eating, Tristan said with a smile. Ajay turned to Tristan and roared at him. Keep calling him a her and he's gonna take a bite out of you. Trudy said with a smile. Do you even have a exotic pet license? Naruto asked Tristan with a scowl. A what? Tristan said with a raised eyebrow. This is a member of a circus of morons. Naruto grumbled to himself. Mr. Tristan, if you don't have a license then I'm afraid I'm gonna have to call the authorities, Trudy said with a firm tone. But the circus Tristan was saying before he was cut off. Get a proper permit, then your circus could have one. In the meantime, this guy is going to my grandparents' shelter before we ship him back to India, Naruto said. Ajay perked up at this and tackled Naruto. Hey, that tickles. Naruto laughed as the tiger licked him. Trudy smiled at this. You have a talent with animals, Naruto, she said as the tiger let Naruto up. Yeah, I have had this talent since I was a kid, he said as he pet Ajay. With Penny. Penny was being shown around the animal sanctuary outside town by Minato. She got to see animals normally she'd only see in a zoo like their liger named Fluffy. Wow, this is better than any zoo I have seen, Penny said with a smile as she watched a horse run by. I know, you'd be surprised how many animals my parents get or how many idiots think they can handle an animal like these, Minato said. Your parents run this place? Penny asked curiously. Oh yeah, my mom is in charge and my dad helps fund the place with his books, Minato said after a pause. Books? Penny asked curiously. Don't tell your dad I told you this, but he writes romance books for adults. Minato said whispering into her ear. You mean those books with the orange covers perverts read? Penny asked with a frown. How'd you know they had orange covers? Minato asked. My daddy had one once and my mama shredded it and made him eat the pieces, Penny said. Minato paused at this, defiantly Kushina's best friend, he said with a chuckle. Hey brat, what are you doing here? A female voice called out. And that would be my mother, Minato said with a chuckle. Penny looked and saw a woman standing near a building with a sign on it that said New Arrivals. The woman looked young and had long blonde hair tied up in twin ponytails. She was wearing a ranger's uniform. This was Tsunade. Penny's eyes were more drawn to how well endowed the woman's assets were as she looked at her own. Hey mom, Minato said with a smile as him and Penny approached. Tsunade smiled at her son and looked at Penny. Who's the kid? She asked curiously. Naruto's friend Penny. She wanted to see the shelter with me today while Naruto is with her mother at her vet clinic. Minato said. Ah, so you're my grandson's friend, huh? Tsunade asked as she looked at Penny as if inspecting her. Why yes ma'am. Penny stuttered out, composing herself. Let me guess, you want to know my secret to my looks? Tsunade asked with a chuckle. Well, you do look in your 20s when you're in your 6-. Minato was saying before he was cut off. Don't start with me brat, don't make me get ugly with you, Tsunade said with a glare. Wow. Penny said with wide eyes at Tsunade. So Penny, you like animals? Tsunade asked curiously as she looked at her. Yeah. Penny said. Good, we have a new arrival coming that you can be one of the first to see, that is if my idiot husband can get it here for inspection. Tsunade yelled at an older-looking man with long white hair as he approached in a van. This was Jiraiya, Minato's father. Don't start with me, I'm moving as fast as I can, Jiraiya said from the car. How hard can it be to bring in a cat? Tsunade asked with a scoff. A cat that apparently doesn't like being touched, Jiraiya said as he went to the back and got a box. A box that was shaking and yowling could be heard from inside. Thing is half lynx, got some BRTH defects like one that made her fur blue and she has 2 tails, Jiraiya said. Who called it in? Tsunade asked as she approached. Some obnoxious man named Oscar Proud yelling about wanting an animal away from his trash, Jiraiya said. Penny chuckled sheepishly at this. Well, let's get him inside, Tsunade said. The box shook at this and a roar was heard from inside. It's a girl babe, Jiraiya said with a chuckle. Can I look? Penny asked. I wouldn't little missy, she has a attitude, Jiraiya said. Can't have more than my dad. Penny said. Well, go ahead then, Jiraiya said. Penny opened the box and looked inside. Inside was what looked like a cat that was slightly bigger than a regular cat. What really stood out was its azure blue-colored fur and its 2 tails. Ah, she's adorable. Penny said. The cat looked up at her, showing she had 1 green eye and 1 yellow, and jumped out of the box. Ah, not again. Jiraiya said. The cat hissed at Jiraiya but meowed in surprise as Penny picked her up. Aw, you're just a tough girl, aren't you? Penny asked. The cat looked at Penny in surprise, and when Penny started to pet her the cat started to purr and closed her eyes happy. Well, looks like she likes you, Minato said with a smile at Penny. Good, you can come in with us as I have a feeling we're going to be needing you to even look at her. Tsunade said. Who is this kid anyway? Jiraiya asked his son as they all went inside. She's a friend of Naruto's who switched with him. For parent job day, Tsunade said, keeping it simple for her husband. She his girlf, ow. Jiraiya yelled as Tsunade slapped him in the back of the head. Okay kid, put her on the table so I can take a look, Tsunade said as she approached the examination table. Penny nodded at this as she placed the cat in the table and placed her there. The cat let a small growling, not liking her surroundings. Hey, it's okay, she's not gonna hurt you, Matatabi, Penny said as she pet the cat. Matatabi? Minato asked curiously. Yeah, I remember this story I read once about a two-tailed cat and I figured it fits her, Penny said with a smile. Well, she likes it. Alright Tabi, let's get this started, Tsunade said. I would have gone with Catzilla, Jiraiya grumbled as he still had scratch marks. Matatabi hissed loudly at Jiraiya at this, clearly not amused. Half an hour later. See, now that wasn't so bad, Tsunade said. Though someone is not a fan of needles, Penny said, giving Matatabi a rub down her back. You're telling me? Jiraiya said flatly as his arms were scratched up. You have a talent for this, Penny, Minato said with a smile at the teen. Guess I got some of Mama's genes, Penny said with a chuckle. Just as long as those genes don't include those proud snacks, Minato muttered with a shudder. Oh geez, she's related to the loon who makes those snacks? Tsunade asked as her face turned slightly green. Yup, that's my daddy, Penny said with a smile as despite how her dad made her nuts she loved him. Suddenly Tsunade's phone went off as she answered it. You know kid, considering Matatabi is part house cat you could take her home if you want, Jiraiya said. Really? Penny said. Yeah, they set up pet adoptions here, Minato said with a smile. Eh, what? Tsunade said, getting their attention. I swear I hate circuses, she muttered, hanging up her phone. What's up? Jiraiya asked. Getting an Indian tiger from a circus that didn't have the proper permits or knowledge to care for him, and get this Trudy and the brat is bringing him, Tsunade said with a sigh. Why you call Naruto a brat? Penny asked curiously. Don't think anything by it, I call this one a brat too, Tsunade said looking at her son. That and Naruto calls you dash, Jiraiya was saying before he was cut off. Watch it, Tsunade growled as she glared at Jiraiya. Even though you actually are dash, Minato was saying before he was cut off. You too, Tsunade said as she glared at her son. Penny's sweat dropped at this but soon recovered, since this wasn't anything compared to when her father and Suga Mama fought. Guess you kinda missed something exciting down with your mom, huh, Minato said with a smile at Penny. It's fine, I prefer this cutie, Penny said as she pet Matatabi who purred. Later. Minato, his parents, and Penny went outside to greet Trudy, who was driving a big bet truck with Naruto in the passenger seat. Hey Bachan, got you a new cat, ow. Naruto said as he got out of the truck and Tsunade slugged him in the gut. I don't get it, she is his grandmother, so why does she hate being called it? Penny asked Minato. He's being as smart, but because of her looking young and she hates being called old, Minato said with a sigh at his son who was on the floor groaning. Oh, be a man, brat, that was a love tap, Tsunade said with a shake of her head. Love, tap my butt. Naruto said as he slowly got up. Anyways, his name is Ajay and he's probably hungry, he said as said tiger poked his head out. Don't worry, I have plenty of steak for this big guy, Tsunade said with a smile at the tiger. Jiraiya held up said steak and Ajay followed him. Thank you. Naruto smiled at this and he gave Ajay a thumbs up as Jiraiya led him away. Who said that? Penny muttered out loud. Naruto paused at this and smiled at Penny. Looks like she has the same talent as me, he thought. You should be very proud of your son. Got to say, he may be the first animal whisperer I've ever met. He knew exactly what that tiger wanted and everything, Trudy said. Yeah, he's been doing that Dr. Dolittle thing since he was a kid, Tsunade said with a smile as she tousled Naruto's hair affectionately. Animal whisperer, Sugar Mama would flip to see that, Penny said. Bet you $10 I can get something from Puff. Naruto said, crossing his arms. Do I look like a sugger to you? Penny asked with a raised eyebrow at Naruto. I'd do it more just to see your dad flip more than Suga Mama. Naruto said. Okay, it's getting late, let's head back and save Oscar from Kurama, Minato said with a smile. You mean save Kurama from Oscar, probably making him eat all those proud snacks? Trudy said. Yeah, he said he was gonna have Kurama test his new snacks, Naruto said with a snicker. You mean those gross octopus broccoli jalapeno things? Penny said with a disgusted look on her face. Yeah, we should go, Naruto said. They all got in their cars and headed for home. Tsunade and Jiraiya waved at them as they left. I like that one, Tsunade said with a smile at Penny as she waved back at her. Yeah, you think Naruto will end up tapping, oh god. Jiraiya yelled. Probably. Tsunade said before uppercutting her husband. And sent him flying into an animal pen. Leave me alone, son. Jiraiya yelled as what looked like a gorilla chased him. With Oscar. Oscar was in the kitchen looking for Kurama, who had been hiding in a cupboard in the kitchen. Where'd that dang fox go? Come on, you got seaweed oysters next, Oscar said. Kurama turned green and gagged at this as he had been forced to try some of his snacks, and needless to say he was at his wit's end. Oscar, we're home. Trudy said. Freedom. Kurama yelled as he bolted from his hiding spot towards the living room. Oscar poked his head into the living room to see Trudy with Penny and Naruto. Kurama clung to Naruto's leg and glared at Naruto as if to say he was dead when they were alone. So baby, how was it like working at the animal shelter? Suga Mama asked from the couch. It was awesome, I even saw a liger and other animals I thought I'd never see. Penny said with a smile. Oh, they introduced you to Fluffy, he's their liger, 600 pounds of fluff. Naruto said with a happy smile. Who names a 500 PND cat Fluffy? Oscar said with a raised eyebrow. I don't know who names a man after a hot dog. Naruto said, making Suga Mama laugh. Gotta say, Naruto impressed me at the vet. He knew exactly what this Indian tiger that this circus man brought in needed. He's like a real-life Dr. Dolittle. Trudy said, smiling at Naruto. Bull. Oscar said before he got hit in the gut by Suga Mama's cane. Hush up, boy, I want to see this. Okay, Dolittle, do Puff then. Suga Mama said, holding up her dog. Naruto nodded as he got down on one knee to look at Puff. $20 says he's a dud. Oscar said. You're on, boy, Suga Mama said. Oh. Naruto said, nodding. What he say? Oscar said. He said you're rude, crude, and not very bright. Naruto said, making Suga Mama erupt in laughter, and that your snacks smell worse than Suga Mama's feet. My feet don't stink. Suga Mama said, taking her slippers off. Oscar groaned as he held his nose. I always said your feet could bend steel, he said. Watch it, boy, you're not old enough, I can't bend you over my knee, Suga Mama said as she held up her cane. Not so much a dud now, is he? Trudy said. Dang it. Oscar said, taking $20 out of his wallet. Oh, and Oscar, they let Penny bring home one of those animals from the shelter, Trudy said as Penny held up a crate. We don't need another pet, we already have Suga Mama, Oscar said with a laugh. You're the only pet I see, Naruto muttered. Whisker Face gets in a good one. Suga Mama said. I think it is a good idea for Penny to have a pet, Trudy said with a nod at her daughter. Penny put the crate down and opened the door as Matatabi walked out. Oh boy, what is that? It looks like Sugar Mama back when she discovered hair dye, Oscar said. Matatabi growled at this, clearly not amused with Oscar. She's that freaky cat you called in getting into the trash, Penny said, petting Matatabi. Oscar. Trudy said with a disapproving look. Well, can you blame me? It looks like its tail got split and got into your makeup kit, Oscar said. Matatabi got onto the couch when Puff growled at her only for the cat to hiss and swipe at him, making him yipe and run off. "Well, you better get used to her, she's part of the family now," Trudy said. "How do we know this thing will be safe around the twins?" Oscar asked, hoping this excuse would work. Meanwhile, Bibi and Cece approached Matatabi, who was sitting on the couch. The twins laughed as they reached for her tails, only for her to move them each time they reached. The twins laughed at this as Matatabi smiled at the babies. "See?" Penny said, sounding somewhat smug. "What about the claws? Can't have her with claws around them and she'll scratch up the furniture," Oscar said. "Oscar, you know I don't approve of declawing," Trudy said with a scowl. "Oh, Oscar, stop being a wuss. Besides, maybe having a pet will teach my grandbaby some responsibility. After all, she has to take care of it," Suga Mama said as she scratched Matatabi's chin. "Yeah, plus I babysit the twins all the time," Penny said. Oscar sighed at this. "Okay, fine, but she's your responsibility, Penny," he said. "Thanks, Daddy," Penny said with a smile. "So, which one of you is going to buy cat toys then?" Suga Mama asked as Matatabi got in her lap to watch TV with her. "Not it," Oscar said. "Oscar. What, you're the animal person, what the heck do you even get for cats?" Oscar asked. "Scratching post, catnip, ball, laser pointer, oh, and a tower for it to climb. Cats love to climb," Naruto said, listing off cat supplies. "And boards to go with said tower. We might have to move some pictures around," Trudy said. "Great, another woman in this house to look down on me," Oscar said, grumbling. "That's life, Bud," Minato said with a chuckle. "Come on, Bud, time to get some real food in you," Naruto said to Kurama. Kurama nodded rapidly at this before he climbed up Naruto and hid in his hoodie. "Oscar, just how much of your proud snacks did you give this poor thing?" Trudy asked. "He ate the first one and spat it at me. I spent all day trying to find it after that," Oscar said. "Smart for a kitsune, though. Rocks are smarter than you," Suga Mama said with a smile, while Matatabi also smiled. "Oscar, you can't force an animal to eat the food you provide," Trudy said with a disapproving look. "Oh, whatever, can't blame me that the fox is scared of some food," Oscar said. "Anyone should be scared of the food you make," Minato muttered as he opened the door for his son before they left. "So how you enjoy meeting Naruto's grandparents?" Trudy asked Penny as they went into the kitchen. "It was awesome, for an older woman, his grandma still got it going on," Penny said with a smile. "Oh, she can't look that good," Oscar said with a dismissive look. Penny held up her phone and showed him a picture of Tsunade and Penny along with Matatabi. "Oh my, whoa!" Oscar yelled in surprise at how Tsunade looked. "Oh, hush up, boy, you act like you haven't seen a appealing older woman," Suga Mama said. "Not appealing like that," Oscar said. Trudy growled at this. "Excuse me." Oscar instantly backed up. "Come on, babe, you know I didn't mean anything," he said with a nervous chuckle. "Yeah, in Daddy defense, even I was surprised by Miss Tsunade," Penny said, trying to help her dad out of the hole he dug himself. "Tsunade. I heard that name before," Suga Mama said. "Well, if she's a grandmother, maybe you two were at Woodstock together, haha." Oscar laughed. Matatabi hissed at him, making him jump back to avoid getting slashed. "I'm loving this cat already," Suga Mama said with a laugh. With Naruto. Naruto was in his room going over his report for school about his day with Trudy. Suddenly an empty chip bag hit him in the head. "More chips!" Kurama yelled from Naruto's bed. Naruto sighed at this. "You're gonna milk this for a while, aren't you?" he asked as he pulled out a fresh bag of potato chips and tossed it to the kitsune. "You left me with that idiot with only his snacks to eat. You're lucky I didn't kill you," Kurama yelled before he opened the bag and dived in to eat. "Keep that up and no barbecue," Naruto said. "3 more bags and we're square," Kurama said before he continued to eat. Kurama then grunted as he got covered by 3 big bags of chips. "You are such a baby," Naruto said as he turned to look at his homework. Kurama blew a raspberry at Naruto before he went back to eating. Naruto's phone vibrated and he looked and saw a message from his grandmother. When he tapped the message he saw her message. "I like your friend so don't screw up," the message said with a few heart emojis next to the message. Naruto saw the attached picture of Penny and Tsunade smiling and gained his own smile. Gold Penny had fun. "Huh, wonder what she means by don't screw up with Penny," Naruto mused. Outlook. "Oi." Kurama said with a flat look at how clueless Naruto was. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author of KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.